Greetings and salutations, I'm Keb. Welcome back to this Let's Play of Outpost 2 Divided Destiny.
Caution. Vortex watch initiated.
Oh good lord, not a vortex. No, that looks bad. That's fairly close to our tanks and stuff, but I think it's gonna be fine. Yeah, we're still on this darn mission trying to hunt down the last piece. We did, thanks to some cheat pages, go through all the darn coordinates for every single bit. Could have sworn I checked this one before, but apparently I didn't. Oh well. But now I've checked it. Now I just need to get all my tanks into a combat position. Which means driving them down here.
Alert.
Come on.
Vortex imminent.
Yeah. We have a cargo truck here, which is going to be driven there next. And then I think we're going to do a smash and grab. We're just going to plow through here. Or at least try to kill these units and possibly these two RPGs. And whatever else he sends at us. And then pick up that last cargo piece. And see if we can make a break for home. Because then I can drive the shortest possible route.
Warning. Vortex detected.
There's the twister. And that's fine. I could go over and destroy his buildings here, but that wouldn't do anything for me. Would have been good for nothing. Come on, little tanks. You can do it. I know you can. We have so many lynxes that there are so many tigers. And they're big and strong and incredibly slow, so they're basically moving turrets. That's why I almost always use lynxes. I just want to get around on the map and kill things. It doesn't matter if the units survive the battle if they just limp across the battlefield afterwards. And with lynxes you can do hit and runs. Because if you damage these tanks, they're never gonna catch you. And then it becomes a matter of outranging them, and we'll get to that pretty soon, I think. Eden has one weaponry left to develop, and that's my absolute favorite in this game. The acid cloud is a bit of a danger, because that does friendly fire. I don't like the acid cloud at all. The multi-grenade thing that they have, this one, I believe is better. I do believe that's friendly fire proof. I don't recall. ESG systems, yeah. Electrostatic grenade. I'm fairly certain they can drive over those without taking damage. And of course, Plymouth has another edge in battles. That is simply this. Railguns can't fire across walls, but their equivalent with the Plymouth, the RPG, can. So, yeah. If you're playing this game in multiplayer, you should be aware of that. You should be aware that Plymouth has an edge. Which is kind of odd because it's supposed to be Eden that has all the weapons. Okay, you're gonna go there and be close to the wreckage. Yeah, with this many vehicles we should be able to breach this stuff here. Hopefully. Now, I don't want to destroy these two structures, they're gonna blow us to pieces, that's not something we want, but trying to kill all their units, that would be cool. If only our tigers could get down here. But yeah, as soon as we pick up all the pieces, they're gonna spark a reaction. It's gonna spark a reaction. I assume that all the vehicles they have stored up will come hunting us. That's one. But I do believe they'll also get reinforcements. I could be wrong there, but better safe than sorry. He doesn't have any kind of multi-attack vehicle here. I could bait him. If I have a fast railgun links left. I don't think I do. Okay, never mind then. Leroy! I did have a one, but it's kind of damaged. Yeah, I triggered all the vehicles. Hey, I got him first. Excellent.
Vehicle destroyed.
Take out the light. Take out the easier targets first. Yeah, this one's quite well.
We are under attack.
No kidding. And he does have a vehicle over there. Will he react if I destroy his vehicle factory? I don't know. Let's find out. No, he won't. Cool. I don't think this one has an explosive radius. So we'll just destroy it. So we have room to maneuver. We can destroy his remaining vehicles. These are two EMP vehicles. And we want to get rid of those. They're lynxes, so they'll be moving across the map pretty fast. And they'll stun you. So if they stun a cargo truck, we're going to be sitting ducks. It doesn't move. Cool. There goes the building. No damage warning. Try to kill this one quickly. Oh, that was quick. Now for the next one. That triggered the reaction from the entire base. That's... well, then he stopped. Okay, in that case, charge this one. Get rid of his fixed installation, please.
Vehicle destroyed.
Well, we've had good use of... oh, those... stop, stop, stop. Oops. Oh. Oh, for stop. Don't move. Now we're gonna damage ourselves because... yeah.
We are under attack. Vehicle destroyed.
We need to move. Get out of the acid cloud range. Okay. All of you attack this one. Get rid of that. I think that's gonna be all. So we're gonna save the game now. No, just do a little overwrite.
We are under attack. Vehicle destroyed.
Let's see if this works. All these moving vehicles are destroyed, so...
Wreckage loaded.
Go, go, go.
Reinforcements ready.
Reinforcements ready. Reinforcements ready. Where? Hey. You just sit there in front of the trucks. And you beeline for the goal line. Now let's see, can we actually see... oh, I never tried this map on before.
Caution. Electrical storm watch initiated.
Oh boy, yes of course. Hide way up in the corner, please. Can we see the Plymouth vehicles more easily here? Not really. It's kind of hard to spot them using this system. Yeah, I would assume that all those vehicles near the vehicle plant, they would have just launched out. And I was kind of afraid that they would get more reinforcements, but
Alert. Electrical storm imminent.
I don't see more reinforcements on the map. And we don't need to move these vehicles out of this. They can just, I don't know, sit here, that's fine. As long as this truck makes it up there in one piece. And honestly, I was kind of worried about this volcanic eruption, but apparently they have thought about this, so it won't actually overlap the victory conditions.
Warning. Electrical storm detected.
But I do think that those 2 Plymouth trucks that were running around could potentially... Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, there are reinforcements coming. Where did the truck go? It went this way. You just go here and block his escape, please. Yeah, they're definitely sending in more units. That's kind of what I was afraid of. Not many though, but there are a few lynxes, which means he'll be very, very, very fast. Very fast. But will he be that fast? I don't know. Get there. All the units I hid. Get back to the area there, please. We have a few number units there they could probably hold up if they were to attack directly. I don't think they're gonna. He's coming straight for us. The other ones seem to go back there. And the rest of them, yeah, that one isn't anything to worry about. It's gonna be too darn slow to do anything.
Damage warning.
He's trying to go down here and regroup. That's okay. Because I'm fairly certain I can intercept him now with this force. That's good. And the truck is... yeah, almost there. As long as it doesn't drive into the electrical storm. And as long as Plymouth didn't send any extra units from another direction. Well, it seems we're in the clear. Good, thank goodness. I hate these wreckage recovery missions, but I do believe there are only 2 of them, so this should be the last one. And of course it chose to put the trucks in front. Boo. Put the tanks in front, please. And this map, thank goodness, doesn't have the Blight. At least that's what it looks like. Oh, he just went down there to protect the base. That is waiting for the last tank. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. Goody! We'll be finishing the mission. Woohoo! Just have to crawl on home first. Yeah, then again, we have increased speed on the lynxes, so they do move a hell of a lot faster than just about everything else. Needs to increase weapon damage, which is fine. Railguns are my second favorite Eden weapon. The EMP weapon is very useful. I'll give it that, but Plymouth has more use of it than Eden, since Plymouth can use those little spider things to steal units. And that, by the way, is incredibly annoying to fight. It's also incredibly fun if you're playing Plymouth. And that should be the end of this mission.
You have done well. Our colony is surviving.
Yay, success. Continue. There we go. Okay, onwards to mission 10. Let's see, how much time do we have? Yeah, we should read. Mission briefing. Commander. The Blight continues to consume New Terra. Our focus has been on building our starship, and we must continue our efforts to complete it. The natural disasters and meteor showers are increasing their intensity as well. New Terra is dying violently. Several new technologies may offer us some degree of protection from these events. Our scientists have also developed plans for a reusable launch vehicle, RLV. This vehicle will have a higher initial expense, but its reusability will be more efficient as we complete our new starship. Unfortunately, our starship development has suffered a setback in schedule. Recently, a small convoy of Plymouth units invaded our base and kidnapped several scientists who were working on our project. Oh dear. This foolish and desperate action has also ended our negotiations to peacefully acquire the gene bank from Plymouth. The Senate has unanimously approved preparations for a counterstrike to invade Plymouth and acquire the gene bank. To help build the invasion force, our scientists have proposed several new weapons. We may need to research these items to help ensure our success. Soon we will rescue the gene bank, finish our starship, and leave this infected world. The specific objectives list generated by our savant computers will show what we must do to stay on schedule. Ooh, artificial lightning weapon proposed design. Oh, I like this one. Objectives. There we go. We need to keep a lot of people alive, we need to complete the improved launch vehicle, research artificial lightning, evac transports, have all the vehicles we need, launch 3 more spaceport components, and have tons of minerals and stuff in storage. Lovely. Onwards, story time. 10. Raid. Retribution had come swift and hard for the actions of Jack Barr, Eden's spy. Under the cover of darkness, a Plymouth convoy had sliced through Eden's defenses, ignored choice strategic targets, and made a lightning raid on the labs researching starship technology. An attempt to remove salvage from the original starship, Conestoga, had been repelled thanks to courageous action by the Volunteer Guard, but 3 scientists were missing and presumed captured. Among these were Eldon Jensen. Axon especially regretted Jensen's loss. Failure was always easier to take when it didn't have a face. Of course, there was nothing he could do once Barr caused the talks to collapse. Emma, or at least the people she spoke for, simply didn't trust anything Eden had to say, anything they had to offer. When the communications channel went dead one afternoon after a particularly heated session, it was no surprise. The raid 9 hours later was. As Axon sat in front of one of the Residence 3's gallery windows and stared out at the large hole blasted in the lab's side, still unrepaired, he hoped Plymouth had gotten something useful from the 3 captives, because the pendulum was swinging Plymouth's way again, and it was bound to hit hard. Alarmed by the ease of which the raid had penetrated their defenses, Eden had been given a new priority, and its splintered political factions had aligned behind one thing and one thing only: a massive military build-up. They would have their scientists back, and the gene bank too. Axon slumped, chin propped in his hand. If this kept up, neither side would win. Too many resources would be squandered on weapons, too much destroyed in battle. Neither starship would be built, and humanity would die. He had to keep the lid on this war, keep things from falling completely apart before the most vital work for survival had been completed. Elder, you looked like someone shot your dog. He looked up at Sec Outson, stopped in front of him and handed him a clipcom. What does that mean, the dog thing? I don't know. Saw it in an old vid once, and you had the same look on your face as the guy in the vid. They never did show what a dog was, though. Oh dear. Axon tapped the clipcom with his fingers. You read it? Sec nodded. Me and the chairman. We agree with you that it's premature to try to take it to the whole Senate. It's shocking, if true. It's true, all right. I'd stake my life on it. Zek sighed. Even if it is Elder, I don't know what we could do about it. This could tear the Senate apart if we revealed it to them. Destroy the uneasy truce we currently operate under. The Masters would deny everything. Everyone would choose up sides, and meanwhile it could force the Masters to play out their hand. You'll have proof. That some units, parts and supplies may be unaccounted for. That some people associated with the Masters didn't come back from the mining camp. That one man is missing? You can make a lot with that, but not a case. If what you tell me is true, we need a location. So far, the satellite has turned up nothing, and even getting the resources to look is politically very difficult right now. They'd hardly leave it all lying around in plain sight. They don't want either us or Plymouth to find it. I need more, Elder. Give me something to work with and we can at least fight it out in the Senate. He stood and started to walk away. Then he stopped and half turned back. Assuming you're right about what they've got and what they're going to do with it, do you think they have a chance? Axton shrugged. It's a lot easier to destroy something than to steal it. Even if they fail, they'll stir up Plymouth so bad that we'll have no hope of ever getting the gene bank by any means. Either way, they win. Zek sighed, and humanity loses. Brook impulsively stuck his hand in his pocket and felt the small transmitter card. Axton had assured him that it could be attached anywhere on any vehicle and still be effective, and that it would be extremely difficult to detect, even if someone were looking for it. It transmitted only in microsecond impulses at random intervals, on a system of rotating frequencies normally used by suit radios, telemetry systems, vehicles, mining beacons, and other units one would expect to find active around the colony and even out in open country. None of which made him feel any more comfortable about it. He didn't know what he would have to use it, when you have to use it, or under what circumstances, and if one of the masters caught him with it on his person, well, he didn't know what would happen. On the other hand, he couldn't very well go out without it, especially when he suspected the reason for Echo's requested meeting at the Agrodome was to borrow another vehicle. At least, as he waited in the darkened structure looking up at the sharp pinpoints of stars in the sky, he hoped so. It had been nearly a month since she'd made such a request of him, and Brooke was beginning to wonder if Axton's theories, as logical as they seemed, were totally off base. Part of him still wanted to believe that Echo wasn't the monster she seemed to be, that it was all some vast misunderstanding, or that she was, at least in some way, redeemable. He heard a crunch in the comm field behind him. It would be impossible to come that way without destroying plants. That seemed irresponsible and out of character, even for Echo. He turned and peered back into the darkness. He could see the cornfield silhouetted against the moonlight coming through the far side of the dome, but no sign of a person. Echo? More rustling, closer. This wasn't right. It wasn't right at all. Echo, is that you? More rustling. Whoever you are, say something. He hesitated, no answer. I have a gun. Which was a lie, of course. He'd considered trying to black market a sidearm for his personal use. He was even pretty sure that Axton had one or two squirreled away somewhere that he might have been talked into parting with. But the dangers and disadvantages had always seemed to outweigh any benefit. Right now, those arguments seemed to have lost some of their weight. His eyes strained into the darkness, looking for some movement, some identifiable outline. Then in a flash, it was there, charging through the nearest row of stalks, crashing into him, pinning him back against the clearplex. Where's the gun, Brookie boy? Though he couldn't see the man's face, could barely see at all with the thick forearm pinned against his throat, Brooke recognized the voice as G, one of Echo's more constant associates. He felt the man patting him down with his free hand, and flinched as it touched the pocket with the transmitter in it. It was difficult to breathe, much less talk. Just a bluff, G. Didn't know who you were. G seemed satisfied and lessened his pressure, though he kept Brooke against the window. Brooke decided to take the initiative. Where's Echo? Why the rough stuff? Somewhere safe. Things have gotten pretty hot around here for us, and Echo decided it was time for a security review. Make sure you weren't followed or any other such frag. I'm clean, G. You can see that. G nodded. Yes, seems like it. He took half a step back, straightened the front of Brooke's shirt, then stepped back again. No hard feelings, Brookie boy. Brooke re-straightened the shirt and decided that the garment was never going to hang right again. Yeah, if you'll just stop calling me Brookie boy. Name's Brooke, and I like it. Suit yourself. I got a message for you from Echo. I got a message for her. Next time, bring her message in person. G frowned, his face a blue mask barely visible in the moonlight. Some advice. You be careful who you order around. She may have let you put the make on her, but she's a powerful lady, a dangerous lady, and she'll be more so before she's through. But until then, she still needs favors. Cut the gorf and tell me what it is this time. She needs a ride starting in 30 hours. Something with armor would be good for a one-way haul. What? This one isn't coming back, or at least not soon enough to make a difference to you. Color it gone. I can't do that. Tell her I can get her a scout for a day, maybe 2, but that's it. Look, I don't negotiate here, I just deliver the message. She says, come through. I suggest you come through. He smiled, and it wasn't pleasant. Otherwise, it could be bad. G turned and walked away, back through the cornfield, leaving Brooke to curse the night. Axon sidled into the back row of the dim gallery that overlooked the ping-pong table and made some show of watching the tournament going on there. He glanced over at Zek, who was munching from a bag of some orange snack food. Zek saw Axon eyeing the bag and tilted it toward him. Carrot puffs, want one? Not if a meteor just hit the last aggregate on Terra. Zek shrugged. You're the one who keeps insisting on these secretive meetings, Elder. You could just come to my office like anyone else. That would be too... He searched for the right word. Obvious. The less we're seen together, the better, especially considering what I have in mind. You have a location. You got a location then. I expect you shortly, but then I don't think we can afford to wait on that. I want all the pieces in place when the time comes. Time comes for what? I told you, Axon. Even if you can prove the existence of this resistance base, even if you can pinpoint it for me, there isn't much we can do. Even with the Master's spy blown, we can't just unilaterally move against them. Axon nodded. No, you can't, and if you reveal the existence of this thing in an open Senate meeting, it will change from a treasonous act into a subject of debate. But right now, it doesn't exist, and that can work to our advantage. He waved a hand at the players at the table below, the ball flying back and forth with blinding speed. That's why we're here rather than at your office. I'm convinced that the Masters are going to use their base to stage a preemptive strike against the Plymouth Gene Bank. You can't stop it, but maybe I can. I'm going to offer you an out. I don't understand. We can't destroy the base if it doesn't exist. How could the Masters raise an official protest if the base doesn't exist? They can't. Destroy their base? He laughed. With what, Elder? Are you going to go club them to death? I certainly can't allocate forces to go after them. If I could, I wouldn't need you. But you're on the Weapons Development Committee, Zek. You've been working around the clock to develop the new turret for the Tiger chassis. That's classified, and I know better than to ask how you found out. What's your point? Back on Earth, Zek, they had a very useful term. It was called plausible deniability. Point being, a vehicle under manual control normally will leave no record of its movements, and new weapons need testing. Brooke had arranged to have the scout left outside the structure factory's far airlock. He'd left the arranged door unlocked for Echo and hoped this time she actually showed, not one of her goons. He leaned on the railing, trying to look casual, and watched the unoccupied assembly machinery below running through a self-repair and maintenance cycle. Frag if he was going to let G rattle him. He heard the sound of boots on metal grating and glanced up. Echo was walking purposefully toward him up the catwalk. She stopped up next to him and adopted an identical pose, leaning on the rail. Floor show's kind of a dull tonight. You got the item? It wasn't easy. I didn't ask for it if it was easy, Brooke. I just asked for it. I need it. There are some very important things going on, and I need to be able to depend on you. He hung his head. Yeah. Then you got the vehicle, no return? I have a scout waiting outside for the emergency lock at the bottom of the stairs. He hesitated before making the lie. No return. She was silent for a time, just watching the preening of machinery on the factory floor below. I can tell when you're not being truthful with me, Brooke. If that scout isn't back in 2 days, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. He hoped she wasn't as perceptive as she pretended. Okay, true. I'm not without my own resources, Brooke, and I'm not about checking on you. Now, want to tell me why? He squirmed. You said you needed it badly. I figured I could come up with a cover story by the time they noticed it was missing. Brooke, I'm going to assume that was a noble gesture on your part, but it's also a stupid one. Drawing attention to yourself or to us doesn't serve our mutual needs. I need this vehicle, but not at the cost of ruining our plans. She turned and studied him carefully. I think I have a solution, Brooke. We've put you through this a lot lately, and you have proven yourself reliable. To a fault. I'll take the vehicle, but you're coming with me. He stared at her blankly. There's something I need to show you, something I owe you a look at, since you helped to make it possible. And that way you can drive the vehicle back in plenty of time. What about you? She just smiled. I'll have my own ride. You'll see. Oh dear. This wasn't what he'd planned, not at all. I'll need to go back to my quarters, arrange some off time. She waved her hand. Done. All taken care of. She took his hand and led him towards the steps down the lock. This is an exciting day, Brooke. You're going to see the Master's secret army. My goodness, what has Echo been up to, huh? We're still halfway, my goodness. Axon looked unhappily at the irregularly dotted line on his clipcom. The signal from the transmitter was coming in loud and clear. The problem was he couldn't get it in touch with Brooke to find out exactly who or what he was tracking. He glanced around the garage and watched the last worker go on break precisely as scheduled. 3 test model Tigers were lined up in the first 3 bays. He sealed the visor of his spacesuit, slipped his keycard out of the front pocket and walked towards the first Tiger. The hatch opened immediately when he ran his key over it, and he lowered his feet onto the opening and then slipped inside. The short, narrow space pushed his knees up and in, and barely gave him room to pull his elbows in. He slid down a little farther into the semi-reclining position, giving just enough room to pull the hatch shut over his head. The emergency operations console swung down in front of him, and the screens and pads lit, giving him enough light to look around and examine the bare metal coffin he'd just climbed into. The compartment was designed for functionality, not comfort, and it certainly had never been intended for cross-country trips. Unlike most vehicles, it lacked even an emergency life support system, and so he'd have to spend the entire trip sealed in his suit. He activated the manual controls and directed the Tiger out of the garage. Fortunately, the onboard Noesis computer could handle the precise steering. All he had to do was use the console to tell the vehicle where he wanted it to go. It rumbled to life around him and began immediately to move. It rolled out of the bay, turned on its axis, moved a few meters, then turned again towards the vehicle lock. He glanced down at the clipcom balancing on his leg and set a route to follow it at a discreet distance. He wanted again where Brooke was, but it was too late to worry about that now. He'd soon be leaving Brooke far behind, or so he thinks. Through the scout's windows, he could watch the southerly surface wind kick up a layer of dust that almost concealed the ground. He flexed his fingers apprehensively and wondered where Axon was. Look, said Echo, pointing out to the left. We have an escort. The dust was gusting down the slope in that direction, and at first he didn't see it. Then he started to pick up a few edges and managed to build up a picture in his mind. He blinked to be sure his eyes weren't fooling him. It was an armored combat vehicle, a laser lynx, if he wasn't mistaken. In place of normal Eden colors and bare metal, it had been painted in a mottled grey and orange camouflage pattern, making it very difficult to see. He looked Echo's way. Yours, I assume? She nodded. Cobbled together from bits of the wreck you loaned us and a second unit we recovered from the battlefield near the old mining outpost. It's not our only combat-capable vehicle, but it's our best. Oh dear, they only have a laser links. That's not much at all, is it? Not much of an army. I'm impressed that you have it anyway, but I don't know what you expect to do with it. It's certainly no match for Eden's forces, yeah, definitely you could say that, or Plymouth's either, if that's what you have in mind. Agreed, if we were planning a full-scale attack to cause extensive damage, but a well-planned, well-targeted mission to destroy a single item might have a chance. She pointed out the front. Look, there! Again, he didn't see anything at first. Then he made out irregular, shifting shapes, like rippling hills. It took him a while to realize that he was looking at a huge roof made out of camouflage netting. He could just make out a row of parked vehicles and a single structure, a command center, carefully painted in camouflage like the links. We're very proud of the netting, she said. It reflects radar just like open ground, and has active thermal compensation to fool infrared. Believe it or not, the netting was tougher to come by than the command center. She leaned down to look up at the CC as they rolled around it. It's stripped inside, but all we really needed was a building with independent power generation and life support. Excuse me. It's much better than our first base, which was a played-out rare ore mine. That gave us a place to hide our people and collect materials. Then, during the last relocation, we used the confusion to cover our own construction project. By the time Eden was back up and running, so were we. As they passed the row of vehicles, Brooke could see that they have all been modified, crudely and probably at a huge cost in labor. Weapons and armor plate had been welded on all over them. Rifles, along with their power supplies, salvaged from Plymouth Scorpions, seemed to be a favorite improvised weapons upgrade, though a convict had what appeared to be part of a guard post turret grafted onto its upper deck. We're ready to go, Brooke. Today, or tonight rather. We'll move out onto the cover of darkness, hit them from the less defended side, the one away from Eden, use the less capable vehicles as decoys, and ram the links right down their throat for a surgical strike on the gene bank. Echo, this is crazy. You've convinced most people that the destruction of Eden's gene bank was an accident, but you can't get away with this. You lose all your support. She grinned and shook her head. We'll ride back to a hero's welcome. The people don't like fighting, or hadn't you noticed that? We'll have saved them from a disastrous and pointless war to steal the gene bank. Our vision of the future will be assured, and we can assume moving forward rather than sideways. They were approaching the lock when the radio crackled. Watch to command. We have incoming, 1 kilometer out, moving along the base of the East Valley Wall. Echo looked suspiciously at Brooke, but said nothing to him. She switched the scout's transmitter to its lowest power setting and set a scramble. How many, watch? Just 1, but it looks like a heavy combat unit. Frag. Command to nest. The alarm is sounded. Deal with the incoming, then the operation begins. Now! Echo swung the scout completely around the CC and stopped just under the netting. She watched as a small swarm of suited figures emerged from the CC and climbed into the various vehicles. He had to talk Echo out of this before they both got killed. This won't work, Echo. Oh, that was convincing. It's a tiger, but it's only one tiger. We outnumber it, and we know the terrain. Whoever is running it will have no idea what the capabilities of most of our units are either. No, I think we'll win easily. He watched as the various units, led by the Lynx, rolled out. The scout took up a distant rear position, having no armor and no combat capability. Brooke didn't think that would prevent Axon from blasting them though, unless of course Echo's assessment of the situation was accurate, and he didn't want to think about that. Here goes. Let's see. Axon watched the approaching blips on his targeting scanner. Too many. There was only support to be 1 Lynx. Were they planning to attack him with an unarmed vehicles, ramming? It was unthinkable. He swung the tiger out onto the valley floor to give himself more room to maneuver and less chance of being boxed in. Armed or not, some of these vehicles were probably twice as fast as he was. A laser cut through the blowing dust, and an explosive bang told him he'd been hit. The dust would reduce the effectiveness of lasers, but he had no idea what it would do to his unproven weaponized system. Time to find out. He powered up the turret and activated the path protectors. Behind him, through the metal of the hull, he could hear the massive vault sinks powering up. Brooke, trying not to be obvious about it, scanned the little cab for a weapon. He eyed the emergency hand pump for the door opener. The hand looked removable. Slowly he reached over to pull the pin that held it in place. The radio chatted with traffic now. Squad 3, do you recognize that turret? Negative. It's putting out some kind of beam though. It just gave me a little bump as it tracked past me. Echo smiled as she heard this. It must be one of the new prototype weapons. That's how they got it out of Eden without drawing attention. This is being passed off as a test. Well, it looks like their super weapon has a few bugs to work out. Her hand tightened on the tiller. Too bad there isn't time. Gently, Brooke pulled the handle free of the pump. Suddenly, lasers were coming from everywhere. These weren't combat vehicles. Never underestimate the human ability to improvise. The masters had been rewriting the rules from the beginning. He felt stupid not to have anticipated it here as well. Individually, the hits were nothing, but collectively they were taking him apart, and he couldn't get away. He looked for cover, but the flat valley floor offered nothing. The convec rolled in front of the turret. A moment of truth. The path projector's invisible beams swept along its flank and locked on. They barely felt those, but they were only to provide a path of least resistance for the electrical discharge that followed. Time to let loose Thor's hammer. Fire. Lightning arced away from the turret, dancing around the vehicle for a moment, then faded. The turret's second weapon fired. Again, it narrowly missed the target, then flickered into contact and sliced the side of the convict open like a ripe melon. Yes! Squad 2, I just got hit by lightning. Did you see that? Negative. Sky is still clear. Squad 1, pulling back. Brooke touched the bloody lump behind Echo's ear. She was still breathing. He pushed her aside so he could take the tiller. Things were looking better for Axon, and worse for him. He had to find some way of letting Axon know he was in the scout, and get clear without the others giving chase. Squad 1, it's a new weapon. Looks like he's having targeting problems though. Stay close and move fast, we'll wear him down. Roger. In a few seconds, Axon would be surrounded again. If he was going to get his attention, it would have to be now. He slid the speed control forward and the scout surged. He turned and headed right down Axon's throat. Axon looked at the scout that was coming toward him at full charge. Lights blinking. It didn't look armed, or for that matter modified in any way. Suicide attack? But it could well be that the scout that Van Dozier left Eden in hours before. This could be an excellent opportunity to take her out of the picture, with no political repercussions. Maybe the only one he'd ever have. He locked the trackers and the turret began to spin. Where is Brooke? The question popped into his head out of nowhere, but it made his fingers pause over the fire control. He could have gone with Van Dozier, maybe even been kidnapped. The lights of the scouts flashed, and he wished that he and Brooke had come up with some sort of code. Oh well, too late now, and he had only one choice really. He made a final manual adjustment of the targeting and fired. The flash nearly blinded Brooke, and he flew back into his seat, throwing his arm over his eyes. Even with them closed, the blue streak of electricity was burned into his retina, and he blinked to clear his vision. The scout was still moving and seemed unharmed. Targeting problem, he thought. I can use this. He keyed the radio. This is a command passenger. We're hit, and the commander is hurt bad. I'm going to make a run and try to get her to a hospital. This is Squad 2. Negative. We have medical facilities at the base. She's hurt bad. She needs a hospital. Out. He flipped off the transmitter and gunned the speed control and blew through their lines and past the Tiger, which now had plenty of other problems to deal with. Then a voice from the radio said, Squad 3, something is wrong here. All units, your new priority is the commander's scout. All units, pursue and capture. Oh, wonderful. They're all after me, and even if Axon had figured things out, the Tiger will be too slow to catch up. The turret was in constant motion, firing as often as the vault sinks could cycle. The targeting systems were self-correcting, learning as they practiced, and it was only a matter of time before he was hitting more than not. The tiny compartment began to heat up, and even through his gloves, The back wall was hot to the touch. His suit and air conditioner labored under the strain. Then he watched as the scout roared past and hoped that he was right. When he saw the other vehicles withdraw and give pursuit, he knew he was. Time to close the trap. He had the clipcom configured as a secondary control console. He tapped the icon that would start Tiger 2 and 3 out of their hiding places up on the valley rim and down to meet the Master's convoy. That should slow them enough for his Tiger to close on their flank, and then they'd be easily sliced to ribbons. There'd be time to blow up the base later. Brooks steered the scout on a zigzag course down the valley, dodging lasers all the way. He didn't see the Tigers until they were almost on him. He felt like a fly about to be clapped between a pair of giant hands. Then the Tigers turned and disappeared behind him. He glanced at the rear view screen. The convoy was in chaos, boxed in, lightning flashing across the valley floor like a carpet of blue fire. Once he reached a safe distance, he slowed, turned, and stopped to watch the show. Someone else was watching it too. "I'm going to kill you." Echo sat motionless, inert, in the other seat, but she looked at him through narrow, bloodshot eyes, projecting a malevolence he had never imagined. "I will kill you, and I will pull every gene sample ever taken from you, and I will personally burn them, so there will be never be another you." Brooke licked his dry lips and turned back to the battle. Axon was mopping up, but this was far from over. He thought of the data slip Axon had given him so long ago, with personal information he said could be used against Echo. It was time to read it, if it wasn't already too late. And there we go. My goodness, that was a long one. So we're definitely going to take a break here before we start, but at least we've gotten this far. So, thank you for listening.